back on, let's go back.
Country, no mining. You hear me? Hey, to these demagogues and their monologues, up in dialogues, in dark synagogues. To these former Jamaica's catalogs, they all feed the rocks. God, my God, want to cover my eyes with facts to hit me with laps, but me escape them trap. I know in it, they own feet are taken. Babylon it for a serious awakening. No mining in a big big country. No mining.
And reside in Accompong. Most of these names are people, as I mentioned, are loyalists of former Colonel Williams. At the same time, as I said, there are others who have reached out to me since, quite contrary to what this document would outline. Therefore, it is very easy to establish who the players are and to see with common sense the concerted efforts to try and remove me from this office as soon as possible, perhaps before September 30, which is the next court date. There has been much evidence released recently to the public since the efforts to have a joint operation with the Jamaica Constabulary Force did not materialize, which can prove that Farron Williams, his previous administration, misappropriated and possibly embezzled Maroon funds from the Accompong Town bank account. I have shown where $1 million was siphoned through the Accompong Development Foundation banking account, US dollar account, that was not disclosed to the community nor the council, nor was anyone notified of this money. Mr. Williams and his associate, Timothy McPherson, were the only two signatories on this account. When Mr. McPherson was questioned recently on his sojourn here to Accompong, he declared that that was a personal account and not the state account, even though it was created under the entity registered Accompong Development Foundation. To this date, there's no accountability as to where those funds went, but we do have physical printouts and also ledgers showing where these monies would have been sent to, many accounts to which monies were transferred to, many elements and factors external to Accompong and Accompong's governance, particularly the Maroon Secretariat, which is now known as YCOIL, showing up in this bank account. Many issues, many individuals, from my community receiving monies from this account. Within less than 2 years, approximately $1 million. And just this one account that was found was siphoned, and to this day, we have not received any answers. This building that I'm now sitting in was built as a part of a banking venture to which the said players were part and party to. This building was announced with a groundbreaking ceremony to the community as a town hall building, meaning the office of the chief, the meeting rooms, and staff headquarters would be located and operate in perpetuity, similar to the White House, King's House, etc. Mr. Williams has returned this year claiming the building, saying this is personal property. I'm bringing this to the light of the people. This information was shared, made public, and I still have not been contacted by the authorities, having already sat with Mocha for 2.5 hours, expressing and sharing information, and also making a personal report at the Manatee Police Station over a year ago. So to witness the gall that Mr. Farron Williams, who was just 18 months voted out of office in a democratic election where the people made their voices heard, after 11 years of stress, duress, and coercion under his leadership, got to extremes to assemble a team of people to carry an unlawful attempt to overthrow a chief, that this man will go at any extreme to become the chief again. The question each person with a good sound mind and reason must ask, why not honor the law as the people's will, as is the people's will? Even more telling that Mr. Williams was just recently granted an order of distinction only months after I would have made those reports by the government of Jamaica. I must ask the government of Jamaica if this is the type of people you award with such prestigious honor, who goes around trying to overthrow democracy? I will seek a reply to this question formally at another date. The funny thing about this matter is that many people believe that I am against the Jamaican government and that I have a vendetta against Prime Minister Andrew Holness. Nothing could further be from the truth. In fact, I shook Andrew Holness's hand when he came here in 2019 and made all those promises to us as Maroons. He said to me, we will fix it, we will fix it. And until today, Prime Minister, we are still waiting for it to be fixed. The fact is, the Andrew Holness-led government of Jamaica recognized me as an elected chief of my people at the formal visit to Gordon House last year, where I was invited by the President of the Senate, Honorable Tom Tavares Finson. There I also sat with the Speaker of the House, Minister Dalrymple, honored to have had dialogue with both individuals. There have been issues indeed, but nothing that we as grown people cannot handle. Nothing I have said has not been law, within the law, has not been factual, and I have information and enough support to back it. As history has shown us, the enemy is not always the outsider or a foreigner. It is most time with your own people, who will put you down in the mud and betray your trust and sell their birthright, all because of lack of knowledge. The clear issue that confronts me and my people is that the other Maroon chiefs in Jamaica have turned their backs on Accompong because of various promises and dealings that occurred prior to my arrival. As a professional forensic auditor, when I first took office, I did a full-scale review of Accompong's books. Nothing was handed over to me. I only got keys to a bus, 2 expired contracts, and 1 bank book from former Colonel Williams. No other documents and engagements with external parties, contracts, pending engagements were passed on. It didn't take me long to realize that a major financial scam was being run through Accompong, in which the same Maroon Secretariat which I mentioned, Waikal, was a party. I chose silence and chose to give my fellow chiefs a pass. As much as it hurt me, I didn't want to see them go down. I chose instead simply not to join the Secretariat. Since I refused their invitation to join their organization, they turned against me and have sought to tear me down in every point. We had a meeting just before they went and met with the Prime Minister on Sunday. And in that meeting, we committed to each other that we'd start afresh in a new page, a new direction, and commit to putting each other to the test in coming up with a dialogue, with a paper that we put forward in dialogue with the Prime Minister together as a unit. And within 4 days, they broke that trust. Within 4 days, they called me to tell me that they decided to go to the meeting. I requested an urgent meeting, which happened that night. It is on recording. They sent it to me. We have it all recorded. None of them could give a valid reason as to why there was a change in heart and change in voice and change in the oath that we took to each other. I then asked the question, for what shall we gain, brothers? It really hurts. For what shall we gain to dispose of thine brother, to satisfy the egos of others? I asked the question again, and I couldn't get an answer. And that's where I left that conversation. I inherited a mess. And because I chose not to dip my hands in the mud with them, they have made me the enemy. As it concerns Moortown, I never attempted a coup. I could never have been the leader of Moortown, nor would I ever want to be. It is young Hope who asked me to support her. I tried my best to explain to her the deep challenges and how difficult it could have been in such a position. Hope has a burning passion for her culture, a fire that cannot be quenched. All I could do was give her support as she asked and begged for me to come over and visit just the people of Moortown. I did call Colonel Sterling on my arrival in Moortown. He told me he was away and in the bush and could not see me at that time, but he would convene with me if he was down within time. He didn't. I went and visited 2 districts with Hope and returned to Accompong. The following week, carrying out their own process as they would have exercised it in past, an article was published that I was stopped heading to Moortown, which was false. I was in Accompong, reading that Gleaner article saying I was stopped by police heading into Moortown. False. Moortown is in an advanced stage of underdevelopment, similar to us here in Accompong. I saw this for myself when I went there. The truth is, Hope wanted change, and she wanted change badly. Just like so many of us young, bright, aspiring young minds in these crevices and corners of what you know as Maroon communities. Hope was of age. I was outright a true Maroon, descendant of Nanny, to challenge any issue in her community that troubles her. There is no electoral office for the Maroons, so there is no other way for her to make her challenge notified than when she did in writing to Colonel Sterling and to the police and to other agents of his council, so the protocols would have been observed. I merely went to visit the people of the districts in Moortown, and I apologize to anyone in Moortown who felt I may have been there otherwise. I take a step back and stand to support you in anything you wish for me to support you in, whether as chief or otherwise. My honor is to the name and the birthright of Maroons. We are one. So I say this in conclusion. The only way we're going to solve it, we got to unite. We got to work together in unity and harmony. And birthright and nationality are the keys. How are we going to overcome the tendency to be at each other's throats and always exist in our neighborhoods? And the reason this tendency exists, the strategy of the wicked at heart has always been to divide and conquer. To keep us divided in order to conquer us. He tells you, I'm for separation and you for integration, and keep us fighting with each other. No, I'm not for separation, and you're not for integration. What you and I are is for freedom. Only some Jamaicans think that Maroon integration will get you freedom, while I may think that Maroon birthright will get me freedom. We both got the same objective. We just got different ways of getting at it. Since the ratification of the Maroon Constitution that was adopted in 2004, with Colonel Ferran Williams was also sworn under the Maroons, have strived towards honoring the laws as much as we have honored the 1738 Peace Treaty. The problem here, as I have repeated, is greed and power. What is in the dark must come to light, and my administration will continue to protect the democracy we have created within the Maroon territory so as to become a part of a civilized world. If Maroons who are listening to me right now do not understand the magnitude of this situation and that there are forces willing to take away what our foreparents left for us, and some of these people are Maroon traitors who would have sold out for promises of wealth. To those turncoats, I will say this. It will be the ballot and preserving our birthright, or it will be self-destruction. It will be liberty, or it will be death. And if you're not ready to pay the price, don't use the word freedom in your vocabulary. I honor you and thank you tonight for joining me, because it has been a very challenging and rough 18 months. We the people of Accompong, the Maroon Full Council, the real Maroon Full Council, stands in honor and representation of those who took to the ballots and those who were not able to make the ballots, those who stood and observed, those who are on the outside. I thank you.
MonaLisa, epic boss lady show. And we are telling them so right now we are line up in a row. Cause Babylon me no know where I go. We are saying no man in the cockpit country. And that we mean from we heart. So that says the Almighty. Read about proud boy. And now call me name. Cause me now look no fear when it's Jamaican baby stars so far for beam. Politician of flame what is the year. Me big boss lady show man major that. Represent.
No mind in the cockpit country. No minding. Yeah.
No mining in the cockpit country, no man.